All right, welcome back. It is the Gambler here on a Wednesday. Sean Brayson, the Daily Ticket. A lot to get to. We got MLB playoffs. Of course, started yesterday. A lot of upsets, 3-1 to the Dogs. We'll see if that continues today. We got a lot to discuss as far as the NFL and college football card. Good one on Thursday in the NFL. Of course, the London game. But if that's not enough, folks, yeah, we got some soccer coming right down the main street here with the Philadelphia Union, right in Philadelphia. Of course, EPL. What the hell is going on with Manchester United? More of the same. And hockey. The Philadelphia Flyers have a player that's catching some attention on the timeline. Mitchkov. We'll see what Larry Henry Jr. has to say. He joins us right now on the Gambler Stream. Larry Henry Jr. can be found at lhenry019 on socials. Read him at thelibertyline.com. Larry, how we doing today, sir?
Good, Sean. Everything's been going great, man. A lot going on. Soccer, Premier League, like you said, Philadelphia Union coming down the stretch. Last three regular season matches. Can they make the playoffs? We'll see. Right on the bubble right now, and then like you said, Matvey Michkov, the new Philadelphia Flyers hopeful star. Right. We don't want to grow his head too much, but the guy's been tearing it up in preseason. I think it's 6-7 points right now in a couple games. Really good to see that. Flyers open up the regular season next weekend, not this weekend. We actually have some other games going on overseas, but the Flyers last preseason game Thursday night, and then open it up in Canada next Saturday against the Canucks. So, but glad to be back with you, man, as always.
All right, let's open up with what's going on with the Philadelphia Union. We'll stay here locally. They got a game tonight. Every game is important. I believe 3 matches left. They're taking on Orlando City. This game is in Orlando, minus 135 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Orlando's favored. Union plus 285, draw plus 310. Let's start with tonight's game. What are your expectations? And then we'll go big picture as far as playoffs or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough stretch right now for the Union. Like you said, 3 matches left to go. Right now, holding on to that final playoff spot with 37 points. There's so many teams in the mix right now. Montreal is right behind them on goal difference. Atlanta United 3 points back. DC United 3 points back. Nashville 4 points back. So, these matches, it's do or die time right now for the Union. And obviously, we're only able to get a point in their last match against Atlanta United. Two teams fighting it out for a playoff spot. The last 3 matches are tough, starting with tonight against Orlando City, who are fourth right now in the standings. Then they close out with matches against Columbus and Cincinnati, who are second and third in the conference. So you have 3 of the top 4 teams in the East that you're going to have to go through to try to make the playoffs. I think tonight it will be probably I would say the easiest of the 3 matches. They have to go to Columbus, who are the reigning champs, really good at home. Cincinnati, the match is at home at Subaru Park, so they should have a little bit of extra energy there from the fans on decision day. But I think tonight will be a good test to see where the Union are at if they can get it done. Defensively, they're going to be have to be a lot better. Jack Elliott, Jacob Glesnes, Kai Wagner. These are 3 of the league's most top attacking units that you're going to be playing over the next 2 weeks in Orlando with Facundo Torres, the playmaker in Orlando, and then you have Columbus with Cucho Hernandez, Diego Rossi, and then closing it out with Lucho Acosta, the reigning MVP winner. So 3 really tough matches. This is where you want to see where your team's at. If you're Jim Curtin, I like them to at least get a point tonight on the road in Orlando. I'm not sure they can get away with all 3, but overall, I think getting a point against a good Orlando side would be good for them, knowing that there's only a few matches left.
What type of effort will Orlando City be putting out and to the weekend as far as Cincinnati? We're talking about 2 teams that are already up there in the standings. Still plenty to play. I'm trying to hit the rewind button and come back to years past and think about teams possibly, getting some other players in there, resting some players, getting ready for the playoff push. What is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, right, I don't think anyone's going to catch Miami in the first spot with 65 points. Columbus maybe can get it done because they have an extra game in hand on Miami. They're only 8 points back of Miami, but then you have Columbus at 57 points. Cincinnati is third with 56. Those two teams will probably be jostling it out for the number 2 seed in the East. Orlando City right now with 46, but they can easily be caught by New York City FC or the Red Bulls, Charlotte FC as well. So I think you're going to see definitely a full strength Orlando squad tonight. You want to keep the guys flowing, get that chemistry going, keep the momentum going with playoffs coming up. But I think maybe those later two matches, you'd see maybe some rotation from Columbus and Cincinnati. I think definitely Cincinnati. They can't drop really further lower than the 3 seed. So, but I think overall, out of the 3 matches, you're going to see probably the most choice first choice players for Orlando tonight compared to the other 2 matches left to go.
Who's winning the MVP for the MLS this year, Larry, with only a few games left?
I think it's got to be Leo Messi, right? I
Really?
think Leo Messi. I think obviously, it's hard to deny a guy like that. His abilities. He's missed a lot of games. I mean, Miami has kind of continued to pick up steam without Messi. But overall, I just think that he's what makes them go. When you look in terms of playmaking ability, goal scoring ability, just what he's able to do, score. I mean, we saw that match against the Union a few weeks ago, right? Scores a brace in like 3-4 minutes, like it's nothing. I think that without him, maybe Miami is not sitting in the number 1 seed right now in the East and doing exceptionally well. I think there's some cases for some other guys, right? Christian Benteke's had a really good season for DC United. That kind of depends on if they make the playoffs. He's got 21 goals. Dennis Puanga, I think, could be a good shout as well with 18 goals this season. Lucho Acosta's got 16 assists. He's the reigning MVP winner. I think those are the guys you're going to see probably in the top 4, 5, 6 guys in the running. But I think ultimately, when it comes down to it, I think Messi's gonna get it and get that trophy.
Got a CBS Sports article in front of me. I don't even know who this guy is. Evander, one name out there with Portland.
Yeah, Evander Ferreira with the Portland Timbers. He came over from Denmark, I believe it was 2 seasons ago now, and he's done really well for them. Portland. He's got 14 assists this season. Really good playmaker, really dynamic. He could be in there, I think, for as well in the top 10 for nominees, maybe even top 5, pending again if Portland makes the playoffs, because it's hard to give it to a guy whose team doesn't make it. But if you're able to get your team over the hump the last couple weeks, maybe you have a shout. So yeah, that Evander's definitely a name that could be in there as well.
Yeah, I've been looking at DraftKings. They don't have the market up right now for MVP, so I got to go do some searching to see who's exactly where. But with only a few games left, as Jimmy King, our good friend Jimmy King, checks in, big game for the Union tonight. Play better on the road than at home lately. How many points are they bringing back home from this road trip in Orlando and Columbus? Can we get to 4, Larry Henry Jr.?
We can. I mean, when you look at Orlando, right, I think they're going to be playing the first choice players. They know that their seed is not determined yet in terms of the East. Columbus, you could see some rotation in there. Like I said, they could potentially catch Miami, but they'd really have to win out at that point, which is hard this time of the season to win 3-4 in a row. Kind of like the last few weeks. So you could see the Union, I think, steal 3 in Columbus over the weekend, and that would definitely boost those chances. So I could see 4. I think maybe realistically it's more of 2, but hey, I mean, your back's against the wall right now, so I think you're going to definitely throw it all on the table, and I think we've seen that in the past from Jim Curtin in big time moments.
I don't want to see this season come to an end without the Union in the playoffs. My guy Mike checking in. Mike Barrera says, great show. Tonight is a must win. Probably need 7 points to be safe in these next 3 games. Yeah, there's no lying about that, right? Like the issue that when you get into these conversations, you got to look behind you. Like who's going to make up that ground? Who's coming and to what type of path do those teams that are behind the Union have? As I'm just trying to scramble now with the standings here. But that's where you got to ask yourself is, okay, if the Union do slip up, will Montreal all of a sudden raise up their level of play? They're tied with the Union at 37, Atlanta United in there at 34, DC United 34. I don't want to say that I'm not worried about those 2 teams with 3 games to be played, but it comes down to Montreal and what type of path are we talking about with them? Speaking of Atlanta, they are playing them tonight. So Something to keep our eye on with that one. All right. Well, look, it's in front of him, Larry. Again, like I said, big picture for me is I don't want this season to end without a Philadelphia Union playoff appearance, especially when they got the role of underdog. Not to say that they were one seed or anything along those lines last year, but still, you had that feeling like they could be favorites, maybe not against Cincinnati, but I don't know. Maybe in my mind it was something I was cooking up. But this time around, no ifs ands buts about it. They sneak in through the back door, make the playoffs, underdog. No one's picking them, playing with house money. We'll see what happens, but I don't want this season to end without a playoff appearance. All right, let's get on over to the English Premier League, Larry. Um, Ten Hag, how do you bring him back? Like, how do you not move off of him if you're Manchester United? I just don't know. Like, what am I missing? Because it was ugly. It's more of the same. It's been like this for the past few years, and you want to give them credit when they're able to turn it on and win a trophy like they did last year. But the season's already a wrap, and it's October 2nd.
It's definitely a tough time right now. I know you're feeling the pain a little bit with Manchester United. I know we've had these talks, right? We've had these talks about Ten Hag when they decided to bring him back. They um, win the FA Cup, come back, give him a new deal. He comes back. Some people probably even thought, what a scenario from Pep Guardiola, right? Drop the FA Cup just to get Ten Hag rehired, and then obviously the pain starts all over again. But yeah, over the weekend was pretty disappointing. I thought they would really hold their own against Tottenham. Bruno Fernandes with the red card really changed things up. I ultimately didn't think it was a red card in that match. I mean, you see what he's trying to do. He's trying to reach for the ball. It comes off a little bit nasty, kind of a cleat to the front of the leg. Little definitely late for sure, but and even he was looking for kind of an explanation as he was getting walked off the field. But it just kind of sums up right now with what Manchester United is in terms of the kind of the lack of leadership in a sense between the players. Who's going to be kind of that vocal leader in the locker room and on the field. We've seen Fernandez wear the captain's armband. We've seen Marcus Rashford wear the captain's armband. We've seen other players wear it. I think that's a big decision for Ten Hag. What he's going to do, kind of in that role going forward. They dropped kind of points at home in their opener of the Europa League last week. They have a Europa League match against Porto on Thursday, which is going to be a tough test going on the road. And then they go to Aston Villa on Sunday in their last Premier League match before the international break. So it's definitely not a tough. It's definitely not an easy window for them right now. Hopefully they can get through it. I think if not, I mean, we could be talking about a coaching change in the next couple weeks, for sure. I think before the new year, new coach, hopefully get some new players in there. I know, injuries have kind of hurt a little bit in terms of new signings getting hurt, which, you want to get those guys acclimated, but even like the guys you'd expect to be playmakers, right? Rashford, some others really kind of not living up to that level. Anthony, I remember being brought in for, I think, what was it, like 70 million a couple seasons ago. It's been pretty disappointing. So, yeah, hopefully they can get it going. It definitely is a lot different seeing the English Premier League without a consistent or a threatening Manchester United. That's for sure.
Oh man, it is just brutal right now. When I turn on that game 3 minutes into it, and then you see how it played out like it did, it's inexcusable. It really is. It's so frustrating, and more of the same when it comes down to it. More of the same, and I just don't know. Is it Look, I don't think I can sit here and say it's not coaching, right? Like he obviously does not have this team ready, and it's one turnover where it's a miscommunication, and the guy takes it 75 yards back the other way and just by himself. And it's like, it's just inexcusable. And it doesn't happen to good teams, but yet it happens to Manchester United. And Rashford, for my money, I thought he was the only one that was really trying and like was all over the place, maybe trying to do too much in that game, but it was ugly. It was ugly. And whether Bruno gets that red card or not, I don't think they're coming away to victory at home, which is inexcusable, man. It's the theater of nightmares. It's not the theater of dreams. Anyways, enough and wipe the smile off your face. Let's keep it moving. Anything for you on the EPL? What's the big matchup this weekend that we need to be paying attention on Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on. Obviously, it's the last match weekend before the international break, so teams trying to get through healthy, trying to pick up some points where they can. A lot of these teams had midweek matches. Manchester City, Arsenal had the Champions League. Manchester United has the Europa League. Newcastle had a League Cup match midweek. So a lot of these teams might be forced to rotate a little bit. I think looking at it. There's not really one that jumps out at me. I think the Manchester United trip to Aston Villa on Sunday probably is the best match of the weekend. Two teams that maybe have underperformed a little bit in the early going. I mean, we've talked about Manchester United, Aston Villa being in the Champions League for the first time in a very long time. I think it's 20 plus years, or even longer. So they've had to deal with it a little bit in terms of rotation, but they have such a really good squad with Ollie Watkins scoring goals, John McGinn in midfield, Ezri Konsa in defense, Emilio Martinez in net. So I think it's going to be another tough trip for Manchester United. They're going to want to get some type of points from it, especially playing on Thursday, then Sunday, and then a lot of guys going away on the international break. So, but Aston Villa at home, I mean, Villa Park's always a great atmosphere watching it. I think it's going to be another tough day for Manchester United. I'm not sure they get something from it. I think it's going to be like a 2-1 in terms of Villa, and maybe that's it, dude. Maybe that could be it for Ten Hag going into this weekend, right? If things don't go well on Thursday in Portugal, and then a tough road game in Aston Villa, maybe we're looking into a change in terms of manager going into the international break.
All right, great stuff, Lair. Let's transition from the beautiful game of football over to hockey real quick, if we could, and just give me a couple bullet points on this upcoming season here. And how do we expect the Flyers to start the season? I'm not even going to get my hopes up. I just want some competitive play, a couple dubs. I want to turn on NBC Sports Philadelphia and be entertained. Will I get that this year, and especially at the beginning of the season?
I think you will, Sean. I think it's with John Tortorella coming back, you have an experienced coach. Yes, we know he has a little bit of those antics, right? In terms of trying to getting a rise out of his players a little bit at times. Get healthy scratch and Sean Couturier, healthy scratch and Travis Konechny, some of your big name players, but they're going to have to start fast for sure. They start off on the road, 4 games out west, the Canada trip early that we normally see between Christmas and New Year's. They hit the ground running, getting the flyer miles in early in terms of going to Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, and Seattle. That's not an easy stretch. Vancouver's going to be a really good team again this season. Calgary, I think they should be favored in that game. Then you go to Edmonton, Western Conference champs, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. I mean, those guys are just insane. And then you go to Seattle, who is trying to have a bounce back season after kind of a disappointing 2023-24. So it'll be a tough stretch early. I expect them to get a couple wins on the road, and then they open up at home on October 19th against the Vancouver Canucks again. So you get the Canucks in 2 out of your first 5 games. It's not easy, but overall, I think this team's going to gel really well this season. Matvei Michkov, who we spoke about, definitely getting the fans excited, scoring some goals in the preseason. Jet Luchenko, who they drafted in the first round this year, has been getting a lot of playing time in preseason. We could see him on the NHL roster. And then you bring back the expected leaders of this team, right? In terms of Couturier, Konechny, Lawton, Sanheim. I think overall this is going to be a much more competitive Flyers team than last year, and I expect them to be fighting for a playoff spot in the Metro. I think the Metro is going to be the toughest division in hockey again, in terms of everybody, in terms of everyone in the mix, right? You have the Rangers, you have the Devils, you have Carolina. I expect the Flyers to be in there. They're going to be competitive, and just hopefully they can get some consistent goaltending this season between Samuel Ersson and Fedidov, the Russian goaltender as well.
Unbelievable that you look up and they're starting the season off with 4 straight road games. Like, that is brutal. And we're talking about good squads here with the Canucks, the season opener, the Flames, the Oilers, and then the Kraken. And then they come back and they got the home opener against the Canucks. Dude, first 5 games are brutal. Am I wrong on that?
No, I was saying that's what I was saying. I think
Yeah.
it is a tough stretch.
Yeah.
I think they can get a win at Calgary. I think they can beat Seattle. I mean, those two teams. I think out of those 5 opening games, those are the 2 easiest. Edmonton's going to be tough. Vancouver's going to be tough. I think getting maybe 2 wins on that road trip will be a win in my book with those opponents. And then you come back home, you get it going at home. You got the Canucks, like you said, at home. You got the Capitals at home. You have a back-to-back with the Capitals, who were, you still have Alex Ovechkin, but that's really it at this point. You got the Wild at home, which will be tough. So I think the opening month or so will really kind of dictate how we're going to see this early season schedule go. But overall, I think expect them to be competitive. Expect them to be in games. I don't think you're going to see a lot of the Flyers getting pummeled 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, 4-0. They're going to be in a lot of games this season, and expect them to be in the playoff mix as well.
Excellent. Larry Henry Jr., you are the best. A little around the world of sports with LHJ here on a Wednesday. Nobody does it better, dang it. And be sure to read them over at thelibertyline.com. L Henry 019, EPL, Union, Hockey, 60 seconds on the Phillies. Are you concerned about either of the Mets or the Brewers?
I'm not concerned about either. I just think right now the Phillies, right? We know what they've gone through the last couple of weeks. There's been a couple hiccups, couple bumps in the road. They got over it. They got in the playoffs. High seed. They're gonna, Citizens Bank Park's gonna be rocking. I think it would, as much as it pains me to probably go up against the Mets just because of that rivalry, and plus my dad's a Mets fan. The fact that they're coming to our house, they know what Citizens Bank Park's about, especially in the playoffs. You add that little juice there with the rivalry. It's either that or you're gonna you're gonna get Reese Hoskins. And you're going to have maybe some heartbreak there. But yeah, I think overall the Phillies are going to get it done. I'm eager to see what the rotation looks like. Obviously, we saw Ranger Suarez struggle down the stretch. What do we see him in the rotation? Do we see him out of the bullpen? I think we're going to see Wheeler, Nola, Sanchez in the rotation. Maybe some Ranger out of the bullpen.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be the safe bet as well. Look, game 1, I love the Phils, no matter who the opponent is, because of Zach Wheeler. Game 2, I'd love to sit here and tell you that Nola's going to have an unbelievable performance, but I've never thought about an Aaron Nola start like that. He's proved me wrong, and I've been right a few times as well. So we'll see how that one plays out. I'm not worried. This is a team that is ready to go for this moment. The best atmosphere in Major League Baseball playoffs, Citizens Bank Park. Let's go. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to all of it, especially tonight. Larry Henry Jr. with the Philadelphia Union are on the road against Orlando City. Larry, always a pleasure, man. Good luck in those plays. We'll catch up later, man.
All right. Thanks a lot, Sean. Appreciate it, buddy.
There he is, Larry Henry Jr. on the Gambler Stream. This is the Daily Ticket on a Wednesday. More after this.